Hey everyone, I'm David Finz, and on this episode of the Cyber Insurance Imperative, we're going to explore whether the time has come for a national privacy law and what businesses should be doing to prepare for this. Now, on April 20th, Connecticut became the fifth state to enact privacy legislation that goes beyond merely requiring notification to consumers in the event of a data breach, joining California, Colorado, Utah, and Virginia. The law, which takes effect on July 1st of 2023, applies to any business that offers products or services to Connecticut residents and either collects records on at least 100,000 consumers or collects records on at least 25,000 but also derives at least a quarter of its revenue from selling personal information. The new law establishes the right to request a copy of your personal data, the right to opt out of having it collected, and the right to have your record deleted from a company's database. Companies must also disclose the types of data being collected and the purposes for which it will be used, and businesses will also be required to maintain some baseline data security practices. As with most other state legislation in this area, there is no private right of action. Aggrieved consumers will need to take their complaints to the state attorney general, who has sole enforcement authority over the law. Now, while legislators did exempt certain aspects of data privacy that are already covered by federal laws such as HIPAA, this patchwork of state and federal regulations is placing an increasing burden on businesses to ensure that their data privacy practices stay in compliance. Say what you will about the GDPR, but at least the standards that companies must adhere to around European consumers are, well, standard. The level of enforcement may vary from one member state to another, but at least companies have some clarity around what they need to do in order to stay out of hot water. And this has fueled calls for a national data privacy law here in the U.S. But can it happen here? Well, it's far from a sure thing, considering our nation's tradition of states' rights. But Congress does have the power to regulate interstate commerce. And the momentum is growing, with support coming from industry trade groups like TechNet. They're actually lobbying for a federal law in the hopes of preempting some of the more draconian state laws like the California Consumer Privacy Act. They're also trying to undercut antitrust regulators at the Federal Trade Commission, who have been targeting businesses around lax privacy controls, which they say constitute unfair trade practices. So in the midst of all of this uncertainty, what should your business be doing? Well, first off, don't try to figure out all of these requirements on your own. Engage outside counsel that specializes in this area of law. They will consider your industry and geographic profile to determine which laws apply to your operations and help you develop a privacy policy that meets or exceeds those requirements. If you need a referral to a law firm that specializes in this area, you can DM me on LinkedIn or email me at david.finz@alliant.com, and I'll put you in touch with several qualified attorneys that you can vet for yourself. This is not an area of law that firms can dabble in. It's highly specialized and constantly changing, so your day-to-day transactional attorney might not be your best option here. The second thing that you should do is check your cyber insurance policy to see what coverage it provides. I can't say this enough. All cyber insurance policies are not created equal. You'll want to make sure that yours provides coverage for a violation of a data privacy law, regardless of whether your company has suffered an actual data breach. And coverage for fines and penalties should contain wording that applies the law of the jurisdiction most favorable to the insured in determining the insurability of such damages. Now, please note, this is intended as general information and guidance, and you'll want to consult with a qualified insurance broker about your specific coverage needs. Navigating this minefield of data privacy legislation can be challenging, but keeping you informed of these changes in the law is just one more way that Alliant helps you find the more rewarding way to manage risk. Thanks for watching.